Manaakinui Te Kahu from Te Wananga Ihorangi. Kia ora, thank you so much for your time today.
Kia ora, kia ora. Ngā mihi o te tauhou Māori. Happy New Māori New Year.
Well, thank you, and greetings and blessings back to you as well. As I said, for us Pākehā in the room, we're still getting used to the tradition, and perhaps for Māori as well, it is a re-embracing of what is an ancient tradition, which certainly hasn't had as much profile as it had in the last few years. For those of us that are in catch-up mode, Manakinui, what is Matariki, and what's the essence behind it?
Yeah, Matariki is our new year. We follow the rising of the star cluster Matariki, which for those who might know the Pleiades
The ladies,
star
yeah,
cluster.
yeah.
Yeah, the Pleiades, and being able to see that rise to the east. That's our sign for the new year. And what Matariki really is about is it's a time to slow down, to come together as whānau, as hapu, to come together in community, to look at the year that has gone by, particularly grieving those who may have passed on, to mourn their loss, but then also looking towards the future. What does the new year hold? What is the fruits of the new season? So that's a bit of a snapshot of what Matariki is about.
Now, traditionally, very much about seasons and harvest, and of course, from a agricultural or horticultural community, and knowing when to plant and when to harvest, this is essential for survival, of course.
Yeah, totally. There's a strong connection in Te Ao Māori to the environment. We look at each of the stars and they represent different facets of our environment. Pōpohu Te Kawa representing our mate, those who have passed on.
Yeah.
Tupu Anuku, the fruits of the earth. Tupu Arangi, the fruits of the sky. Waiti and Waita, our fresh water and salt water. Kaupapa. Waipunarangi, our rains and our weather patterns. Ururangi is our winds. And Hiwaitarangi is our aspirations towards the future. So heavily connected to the environment, where it grounds us and it affirms us in the context that we find ourselves in. Whether we're inland or by the ocean, we can learn from our environment to what's going to be coming in the new year.
And connected with the land and connected with creation and care for that creation as well, another very important principle of Matariki. Something which I heard, my reo is not good enough to be able to break this down, but maybe, no pressure, but from Te Wananga Ihorangi, I'm expecting that you know more on this than I do. I heard that Matariki, in some ways, if you break that down literally, mata and Ariki means to come close to God. That's the origins of the term. Is that something you're familiar with?
Yeah. I have heard those sort of expressions. Mata meaning the face, and ariki meaning God, the kupu that we use for God. Connections to our Māori pūrākau. But there is a mirroring there of connecting to the spiritual as well, that we can draw closer to not only the physical connotations of our environment, but also to the spiritual as well. And so there's an inkling, there's a whisper there, there's an encouragement to connect with God in this season.
I know for some people, Manakinui, that this is a little bit of a stumbling block. There's a bit of a hesitation, particularly from a church point of view or from a Christian point of view, of saying, well, yes, there's a spiritual component to Matariki, but I'm hesitant about what spirit it is, because there are some Māori traditions which aren't, of course, consistent with Christianity, and some people get a little bit hung up on this and say, oh no, we can't have anything to do with it if we're Christian. What would you say to people who are in that space at the moment?
Yeah, I'd totally say, like, there's no pressure to actually engage in the belief systems around Te Ao Māori and what spiritual practices Māori have used in all of their generations.
Yeah.
I would say it would be an encouragement to engage with the principles, really, of Matariki. Firstly, to connect with the environment. I feel it takes us beyond just our personal relationship with God, but that it connects us and grounds us with the environment and all of creation.
Yeah.
You know, we are kaitiaki, we are caretakers, as God has mandated in Genesis 1 to look after and to be in relationship with our whenua, with our environment. Likewise, honoring those who have passed on, our mate, that can be likened to remembering the saints of old
Okay.
in our tradition, and great examples of how we live out our faith, to remember their example, but also, to remember Jesus. He is the ultimate example, the example of dying and rising from the dead. And, lastly, to prepare for the future,
Yeah.
surrounding our futures to God, surrendering them to Him, and saying, like, God, let's set time with you to pray into our futures, to set our intentions right for the new year to come. So, there's definitely some connections there in terms of how we can connect to the principles of Matariki without necessarily surrendering our faith or anything like that.
I know for some church communities, honestly, it's just a great opportunity to get together and have some kai. To perhaps say, hey, let's bring what is growing in our garden and make some good winter soups, and also take this time, as we do at a lot of New Year celebrations. It's a time for any anniversary. It's a time where we look back and are grateful for what God has given us, and we look forward to the future for hope. And honestly, I think this is a great way that churches can get involved. Having a community soup party in the middle of winter for Māori New Year, for Matariki, be a wonderful way of taking that tradition and bringing some Christian values to it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's nothing better than coming together around kaya to share, to commune with each other around the table, just as Jesus did in his day.
What does it look like for you, Manaakinui? What will, in terms of your own family, your own personal celebration of Māori New Year and Matariki, how will that be recognised for you and your whānau?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I've just had a little baby born, and he's new to our whānau, and we're just going to be hanging out together, really. Next week, we'll be coming together. We'll have an early morning breakfast. I'll make some pancakes for my whānau. Get to look around each other and set our intentions for the new year.
Wow.
We haven't had any personal deaths in our whānau, so we're looking, okay, what's the next year look like for us as a family, and just celebrating each other's company, really. That's what I'll be doing on Matariki.
There's nothing like a new baby, though, to have a vision of blessing and hope for the future, and blessings on you and your family as you celebrate Matariki together. Thank you so much for your generosity, what you bring to this program. Kia ora, thanks for being on the show today.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. Ngā mihi kia koutou.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.